Are you ready?
As ready as I'll ever be.
We've been ready, but that's okay. We're more ready now. John Peckman Podcast, Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge, go through one set of lights, pull a Yui, park in front of the music store with the red neon light. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Be on the show with me. Have your own show. I think that covers it. Our guest today, Mike Foley. It's going to be a voyage of discovery. I don't really know.
And I don't know a lot about you either, John.
Well, hey, that's not about it's not about me. Just to be
we'll
clear.
Know each other pretty well by the end of this, I think. Maybe too well.
Yeah, well.
That's what people who know me.
That's what this is for. Hey, thanks for coming.
Okay, well.
All right. Mike Foley. I've taught two of your children, actually. Didn't I?
That's interesting that you say that.
Didn't
because you remembered that you taught my son Nick drums.
Yep.
Briefly.
There was another one.
And he had the good
talented.
knack of it. He was, but he got busy. And then I have another son named Chris, but my wife thought he came to you for drum lessons, and he and I don't think he did. They took guitar lessons together somewhere. Okay. So it must be, you might be thinking, there's a couple other Foleys in town.
Yeah, there might be somebody else.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah. But it did happen.
It did happen.
I did remember Nick. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So tell me about yourself. I don't know anything.
Yep. I right now play with the Great Hill Mountain Band.
Oh, cool.
I sing and play rhythm guitar.
Oh, nice.
And we've been doing it for 30 years.
Wow.
We've got
what's it called?
Great Hill Mountain Band.
Where is the Great Hill a place?
How long have you worked in Portland, John?
Okay, I've never been past this. I've never been past
you
the
always
one
make
set of
the U-turn, and that's it. Okay.
Yeah,
Keep
I don't
going
know
straight
that.
sometime.
Okay.
Great Hill and Great Hill Pond are a real place.
Oh.
And they're out past the Winchester, out in the woods. Oh. And all of the guys in the band except me grew out in that part of Portland.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so we were just trying to decide, come up with a name.
And that's a good name.
I think I
for
suggested the Great Hill Mountain Band, and I've kind of regretted it ever since, only because it's a mouthful, and nobody gets it right the first time. We've been called everything from the Gray Hill Mountain Boys to the Green Hill Mountain Band. To one lady came up to us after the show and says, "So which one of you is Greg?" And we said, "Greg who?" She says, "Greg Hill." I said, "No, it's not Greg Hill."
Sure.
But the end of this
they don't
month,
know. Okay, but if they're from Portland, they must, in context, go. Oh,
Portland people know. Oh,
right,
Portland
right,
people
right,
do.
okay,
Yes.
okay. Well,
she must not have been from.
That's
Portland.
all that matters.
Portland. And then we ended up getting a Greg in the band, so we fixed that.
Oh boy.
But his name wasn't Greg Hill, though.
It is now. Just like that.
It's the stuff of legend. I
know.
The end of this month, we're playing at the Winchester Cafe, Sunday the 24th.
Okay.
It's our 30th reunion gig.
Okay.
And the scene of the crime back 30 years ago was the Winchester Cafe.
Oh,
That was our first show.
Wow.
And
that's cool.
So that's going to be exciting. We play there a lot.
Do you?
Yes, we do.
So tell me about...
we rarely leave the Portland city limits anymore. We're all kind of, old and settled.
There's nothing out there.
That's what I've heard.
You don't need to.
Yeah,
you're good.
Yeah.
Tell me who's in the band, what they play, what the thing is.
I will. Luke, they're all Gilmets.
Okay.
Of the Gilmet family.
Really?
You had Clara Gilmet.
I did.
Banjo player on your show.
I did.
Her dad is our drummer.
Oh, wow.
John.
Oh.
And his brother Luke, who is going to be on your show next week, I believe. Don't want to steal your thunder or his.
No,
but
hey.
He's kind of the founder of the band and the lead guitarist and vocalist. And their cousin Dan Gilmet is the bass player.
Oh wow! So this is like a rock and roll combo.
It's actually we started out. I'll tell you the whole story when we get there. But we started out as a country band.
Okay.
And quickly kind of morphed into more of a southern rock and roll and Americana band.
Of course.
And so
which means they called it Americana, but you do the same thing since whenever. Now we have a name for it.
Now we have a name for it. And it's a cool name. It sounds cool.
Oh, yeah.
And it covers everything.
Right,
so.
right. Yeah. I think it's funny that Americana is like the catch-all.
Right.
And it's like, I've been playing this, whatever you call it, whatever. But anyway.
Yeah.
So now you're an Americana band.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so we have a great time together. And I recently, last year, started up in a duo with Michael Cleary, who you've interviewed a couple times here. He's a local legend. Mm-hmm. And I've known Mike a long time. He was an usher in my wedding back in 1981.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
we've known each other forever.
Wow, that's crazy.
Neither one of us really barely remembers, but because it's been so long.
Yeah, he ushered people into the wrong place.
No, it was fine. We wouldn't do it now, but he was a good friend of my younger sister's.
Oh, that's cool.
And she invited him to the wedding, and we needed an usher, and he stepped right up. And
Hey,
and he and I,
did he wear a sombrero or whatever? Because he came here once.
Yes, he was not in costume at my wedding. No. Yeah.
Did you say anything important in the last 8 seconds? Okay.
I said he was not in costume at my wedding.
Oh boy.
Like he was here.
Right. Right. Good.
But,
That's
yeah.
good. That's good.
And we my best man was Joe Flood, who you've also
cool.
interviewed.
Hey,
Yeah.
this is all.
Yeah, of the Portland Floods.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Michael and I have kept in touch over the years, but really sort of just would see each other here and there. I was a big fan of the Michael Cleary band, so I would go out to see them when they were around. But then, as you know, as he told you, after COVID, he kind of decided to let the band rest, and now he's just doing side jobs and stuff. And he and I were out one night seeing Dennis Fancher, who you've also interviewed.
Sure.
And a guy named Mike Rao.
I can't believe I don't know you then. You know everybody.
I
that
think
I
you
know.
know me. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I probably do. Yeah.
You're trying to forget, but
Well,
you know me.
no. Really?
No.
No.
He was playing with a guy named Mike Rao up at the main pub.
Yep.
And Mike, I never met Mike before that, and he's just a really good vocalist, knows a ton of songs, nice percussive acoustic guitar, and then Dennis is just a virtuoso, and he was just laying down these beautiful licks and throwing in some harmonies. And I looked at Michael and I said, we could do this, And he said, yeah, maybe we should try. And
why not?
And so we just started getting together, and a good friend of ours hired us to play at her daughter's birthday party. And so we had to put together an evening of tunes, and we did. And now it's turned into a pretty regular thing, and
that's cool.
We're having a good time
and
with
it's
that.
Called?
It's called, I don't really know, M&M.
Right,
no,
sure.
It's basically Cleary and Foley,
Right,
That's the name recognition.
Right.
We were going to call ourselves Mike and Mike, but then it could be anybody. So,
that's true.
So we went with the name recognition.
About Mike and Ike, just someone drop an M.
We could do that, I suppose, but we didn't think of that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Why not? How wrong can you go?
Right, and you can't go wrong with him throwing in the licks.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
And between us, we knew plenty of songs. So we just sort of merged them. But it's a different.
So he's getting out there. It's just not
Yes.
not the band business at this time.
Right.
Yeah.
And but it was a nice change for both of us because neither one of us. I can't speak for him, but I'd never been in a duo. It was always a band.
Oh.
So that's different, as as you can imagine. No drums, no bass.
Sure.
But.
And you would call yourself mainly a rhythm player?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I can
So
do
Cleary
basic
has-
runs between chords, but I'm not a lead player.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he's got all that covered.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Has he ever worn a sombrero at one of your
oh,
gigs?
and costume changes. I don't know about a sombrero,
So that's his new thing.
but he
I don't know.
certainly
I don't
has
even know if
worn
he wore some
other hats, crowns,
Yeah.
you
Right.
know.
I remember the crown.
furry coats, fake fur, of course.
Right.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
so
So that's his new thing.
that's his new thing. Among other things, he recently also joined a Springsteen tribute band. I don't know if he mentioned that to you.
No.
That might have been after he talked to you. It's
Really?
recent.
Is
Yeah.
he Springsteen?
He is not Springsteen.
Is he Nils Lofgren?
Yes.
Oh.
I would think he is. If
Does
you
he have
were
a
gonna assign
trampoline?
him,
Is he doing flips on a trampoline?
it wouldn't surprise
Then he's
me.
not Nils Lofgren
It
if
would
he is.
not surprise. I'm going to tell him that because he'll take up the challenge.
I bet he will.
It's a guy named Alex Schillo. You might know him. His name. I think he's East Hampton or something. And
All right.
I've heard his name around. I don't know him personally.
What
but
are they called? They're called
called-
Rosalita.
That's what I would call it.
They're called the River.
Nope.
They're called the Hungry Hearts.
I've said every word in the title so far in this conversation.
Oh,
It's
well, we've said it. All right.
Alex Schillo's tribute to Bruce Springsteen.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay. All right,
And
that's
you know,
fine.
hey,
that's
his
fine.
band. He can name whatever he wants.
That's
you know,
fine. Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
with you though. I would have gone with Rosalita or something like that.
Yeah, or
you know.
something.
Born to be Wild. No, wait a minute. Born to Run. Yeah,
Wild Billy's
band.
Circus Story Band. That's a deep cut.
Is it?
Yeah.
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 Well, see, then nobody would know it's a Springsteen.
Yeah, but
tribute
only
band.
the real people would. They would know.
Well, that's true. But then you got 10 people at a gig, so and it can backfire on you.
Yeah, but they're the right people.
I guess you got a point.
Well, they say there's a saying of quality, not quantity. Although
I don't think in this.
Yeah, in
it
this
applies in this instant.
No.
It's-
Yeah, we
I
don't
think
care
the
what
club owner
quality.
will agree with that.
Yeah, we don't care what quality you are. Just make there be a lot of you.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny.
Right.
I just did my first tribute band gig this weekend. I entered
I
the
saw
fray.
you got a new project. Yeah.
I do. Yeah. Now I'm part of the problem now.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm part
Yeah.
of the plague of tribute bands.
Well, yeah.
You ever feel like someone's right over your shoulder? You
Little
ever have
bit.
that feeling?
Dave's done this to us on stage many times at the fair.
Oh, really?
You feel like somebody's walking around you looking.
Yeah,
there's
but
Dave.
it's
he's fixing something.
It's it's the breath of just gin. That's how you can tell. I'm just kidding. Of course. That's how you know. You're like, wow, I smell some horrible gin. Yes. And you realize it's just Dave's breath hovering. Well, that's cool.
I almost brought my tequila drink in with me, but I have a hard enough time speaking clearly, so I figured I'd leave it at home.
Right. Yeah, there might be something in that fridge.
Cleary probably left some bourbon.
Yeah, he might have. So I'm sorry, you're in this Springsteen band?
No, Michael is.
Michael
Cleary
Michael
is.
is. Okay.
And
That's
they
right,
haven't
sorry.
even played a gig with him yet. They've played gigs, but he's new to the band.
Oh wow. Okay.
So
yeah.
so that's exciting for
I'm
him.
sure
So
he'll
those
be
are
fine.
so he's back in a band, but it's not his band, and
Right.
he,
I think
and,
that
you
was
know,
the thing, right?
So it was a lot of work.
He just doesn't want to make all the calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and book all the gigs
That's cool.
and everything else. So
Cool.
yeah.
So you guys. So all right. So tell me the story. When you say string band, to me that means, what I think of as a string band, right? No drums, and like.
Well,
so.
if you rewind the tape, I don't think I ever said string band.
Oh, okay.
But
Sorry.
but this is good. I mean,
And they're so what's it called again? Sorry.
are we talking about the Great Hill Mountain Band?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. See,
I
I
said-
put string. This is one of the,
well-
what do they call it? The whatever effect where they're like, the Frito guy isn't really have a mustache. What is that?
Right.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I don't know the name of it.
Yeah,
no.
the thing where you remember.
Right.
I put string band where there was no string.
Well, I said country, southern rock, Americana, and didn't say string band.
it
but
don't- we
a
don't
lot
put-
of people, when we say the name, they say, "Oh, you play bluegrass." It sounds like a bluegrass.
That's
name.
what maybe that's what I was.
So maybe I should start from the beginning. Would that be a good idea? Because if I don't start at the beginning, I'm all over the place.
Then let's.
Yeah.
So
So grew up in a family that loved music. My grandmother was played piano and taught piano. Tried to teach us. But
Here?
No. Columbus, Ohio.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Okay.
That's where I was born, and moved to Connecticut in 4th grade.
Oh wow.
But Mom played the piano also. Dad played the ukulele, although
Hey.
not very much. But we thought it was cool,
Sure.
But they both loved music a lot, and my mom in her sewing room, which was the laundry room too. She spent a lot of time down there doing laundry, and she had a sewing machine and stuff. But she always had her cassette tapes.
Oh.
And through a lot of it was through our influence of what we listened to. She would be listening to the Beatles and Jackson Browne and Neil Young
Sure.
and the Eagles a lot. She loved the Eagles, and even up to the Grateful Dead and Allman Brothers and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So we were definitely supported in the styles of music that we loved.
Sure.
And I decided I wanted to learn how to play guitar.
Why not?
So the first guitar teacher I had was a guy named John Bellabono from Portland.
Okay.
And
Of the Portland Bellabonos.
of the Portland
I'm sorry.
Bellabonos. Exactly.
Right.
And he was also by trade, I think, a mason
Okay.
or something. And he had these big hands, but he just was so good on the guitar, you
Yeah,
know.
that's cool.
And I don't even know if I had a guitar at the time, so he sold me a Ventura electric guitar. I still have it. But he was trying to teach me to read music and play scales, and
Sure.
it was so boring. It just,
Sorry.
it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
sure.
then I'd
Sure.
love to be able to do it now.
Sure, I know.
So I didn't practice. I practiced half an hour before it was time to go to my lesson every Tuesday or whatever.
Yeah.
I would practice.
Yeah, sure.
And I lasted for a while, and I learned a few things. And
How old were you at this point?
I was probably 10 or 12.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
But he showed me some chords, but I had no idea how it all fit together. And then something clicked, and I realized that if I could learn to play chords and switch chords, if I could learn to play 3 or 4 or 5 chords, I could play hundreds of songs, you know, and that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I started learning that on my own, and then my friend Joe Flood, I found out that he was a musician who had brothers that were musicians, and he invited me to go to the house with them. Joe was learning to play fiddle at the time, and his brother Billy played guitar, and his brother Patrick played banjo.
Wow.
And I brought my guitar, and I had
Now
to
that's a string band, right?
That's a string band.
All right.
And they played a lot of, old time stuff and old Woody Guthrie and Arlo Guthrie and stuff like that, folk stuff. But I had to learn to keep up. I had to learn to keep up shifting chords.
Always the best thing.
And learn how to sing at the same time as I was playing. Blah blah blah. And I learned how to sing harmonies from going to church. Because we would go to church.
Right.
And sit there, and the hymns would come up, and I was so bored. No offense, Father McDonald, but and I would just start to experiment harmonizing because it was fun.
Sure.
You know,
Why not?
and that's how I learned how to sing harmonies. So from jamming with those guys, I learned how to play with people, and then one thing leads to another.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's always best when you have to keep up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you play with people who are better than you.
Right.
At the time or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Joe and I had another friend, Mike Hamilton, and we were all in high school together. We went to Xavier, but every weekend, or maybe more often than that, Mike would come pick us up, and we'd put all the guitars in the back of the Suburban and go to find a party or go to a bar, and inevitably go out in the back parking lot and pull out the guitars and play and sing. And but then Joe, as you know, went off to Paris and Germany and wherever.
Bust all over the world.
All over the world.
That's wild.
Yep.
That was a wild story.
Yeah, yeah. And Mike had a full baseball scholarship to Stetson, so he went off to Florida and ended up, doing his thing. And I met a friend named Don Gilmet, who's one of the Gilmets, one of the Portland Gilmets. And Don was more my age, and he invited me to play in his. We went out to his friend's house, Phil Smithwick, who had a little jam session going. I played with them. And then we gathered people along the way. Dave Porteous played banjo. He was Clara Gilmet's first banjo teacher, I believe. And Phil and Jay Scheel, who's a Portland guy, guitar player. And our late friend Doug Pasco also played guitar. I'm sure I'm forgetting. Oh, Tim Hughes played the stand-up bass.
Okay.
He's a Middletown guy. And so we would just go to Don's house every week and just jam. And that was a string band.
Oh,
for
cool.
sure.
Okay.
So maybe that's what you were thinking about. I must have given you the vibe.
Who knows what I'm thinking?
Yeah. And we had a great time. And we called, at one point we recorded a CD, but just like in his basement on a cassette player or something. I don't know. It was more than that. Don's going to kill me if I say that, but it was pretty decent. And somebody said, well, what are we going to call ourselves? And I said, and Don lived out on Breezy Corner Road in Portland, which is out near Great Hill Pond.
Okay.
I said, how about the Breezy Corner Basement Boys? And we said, that name stuck.
That has a ring.
Yeah. So I played with them for a long time. And then Don says to me, my nephews, who are the 3 guys in my current band, are starting a band and they need a lead singer. And I suggested that you might want to do it. So we went over to Luke's basement and plugged in and started playing and jamming, and 30 years later, here we are.
Wow.
Now, Don has since retired. He played fiddle mostly, but he played guitar and harmonica with us too, and sang. And he was with us up until, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And then he retired, and he and his wife are off, kayaking and biking and hiking and having a great old time,
Cool.
while we're playing in bars still.
Wow.
But so that's where I'm at with that band.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we were in all great. We were and still are great friends. Get together a lot every summer. We go up to. They have a camp up in Western Maine, out in the sticks, out in the wilderness, that we go for 4 days. Just about a dozen guys.
Sure.
The band and
couple
fathers.
Don't go. Don't try to canoe down the river. There's a movie about that. You don't wanna,
no, and we have banjos, so we don't want to.
Yeah, you don't
mix that in.
No.
But you can only get there by boat. Not you could get there by canoe, but that would take
All right,
way
you're
too
good.
long.
Yeah.
So we go over in boats and we're there for 4 days, and there's really nothing to do but play setback and horseshoes and music.
Hey,
so that's what we do.
That's cool.
And we all get along great. We've never had a fight in the band. And
what's
I'm
that like?
Really,
to be in a band with no fighting?
I always wonder. I love it. I love it. I don't like drama. So
I just thought about it. I was like, I've never been in a band that didn't fight, and I realized that's me. That's probably me. Like that's a me. I'm like, oh damn, wow. Thanks for tuning in today. I just figured everything out. I'm like, it was me this whole time. And then that guy, and then that. What do they all have in common? Me,
the drummer.
Oh damn! If I could do it all over. Sorry, guys. Wow. Hey, well, that's cool, though.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where did you play? Where do you play?
Well, like I said, we rarely, and I was being serious, we rarely go outside the Portland city limits now. We play at the Winchester quite a bit.
Yep.
We play every year at the Portland Fair,
okay.
which is always one of our favorite places to play. We play at the Portland Riverfront Concert Series every year, which is my personal absolute favorite concert every year.
Why?
Because there's 600 of our best friends out there, and it's in my town, on my river.
You're doing it.
And it's just, everybody's having a great time. My kids are there, my grandkids are there, and we just have a ball.
That's cool.
And usually there's a really good sound system.
Oh, nice.
So that makes, as you know, that makes a big difference.
Yep.
But we sat down a few years ago and wrote down from memory all the places we could remember that we had played, and there were over 100 venues on there.
Really?
99% of them in Connecticut.
In this area?
Yeah. Well, we used to play at Harbor Park when it was open,
Sure.
and played at Angelico's a bunch in East Hampton.
Sure.
There were very, very few out of state. I think we played one gig in Mass. We played one gig in southern New Hampshire.
So there were, at various times, there were 100 venues.
Yes.
Wow.
And that includes private parties, and
Yeah.
we got auctioned off at the sophomore auction one time, and
Right. The Lake Shore, remember that place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is it now? It's something now.
You're talking about the one in Coventry or in East Hampton?
No, just like here. The one is that what it was? It doesn't matter.
Okay.
There was one had now. Anyway, Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
100.
So what we realize is we've never had like a band T-shirt, and in 30 years we're about due.
Yeah.
So we were thinking we would put our logo on the front, and then on the back we would list all the venues that we've played.
Whoa.
And we would call it World Tour, but then put our own little in front in parentheses, our own little World Tour.
Sure.
And be pretty impressive
that's
to look
kinda
at.
cool.
Yeah, we'll get around to it someday. Next week, ask Luke
Okay.
because he's the one with the memory,
Oh, all right.
and he's the one with the list.
Okay.
And I hope he remembers where the list is, because
Yeah.
it's going to be important.
I mean, I imagine there's fewer places now, right, than there were.
Yes.
Or is it just different, or
I'd say different.
it's just different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harbor Park obviously is under renovations.
Yep.
Angelico's was closed for a while. Now it's back open.
Okay.
They're having bands again there.
Yep.
I'm actually starting to look into doing solo gigs now. So that's going to open up, wineries and breweries.
Sure.
I actually, I don't know if you're familiar with the Park and Rec Showcase that the state does every year in February, where they gather Park and Rec people from all over the state that want to come.
Right.
And then bands actually pay to play for 15 minutes for all these people to try to book the Park and Rec summer concert gigs, So we did that a few years ago. And somebody came up to me after and asked me if I played solo. And I lied, and I said yes. And
always lie.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff like
of course.
that. Figure it out later. That's been my new thing. Say yes and then figure it out. Right. That's
Put a
what
little pressure on yourself.
Yeah, totally.
That's what I did about tonight. I was going to say, March is really busy for me.
Really?
You know what? I should just do it. Just do it.
That's just nothing. Yeah.
Every month is busy. So, so I said yes. So she booked me, and I've been playing at the East Hartford Senior Center every 3 months or so for a couple of years. And at first I was apprehensive about it because I didn't know what kind of music they'd want to hear.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't know if I really should do this. So I went ahead of time. The couple of weeks before I played, I went and sat and I listened and I checked people out.
There you go.
And the first week I was there was a a couple of guys my age, and they were very good. And they harmonized together. And one of them.
What were they called?
It was a guy named Dick Drake, who's a local kind of a legend. He plays with the band. They both play with a band now called Cobblestone Road.
Oh, okay, because I know people who do gigs.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't remember the other guy's name, but they were both real nice. But they had backing tracks. They had like bass tracks and drum tracks, so they sounded like a full band.
Yeah, sure.
And they're playing Elvis, and they're playing Engelbert Humperdinck, and I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah, sure.
So I almost was gonna tell them, I changed my mind. I'm not gonna do it. I said I'll go one more week. So the next week I went, and it was just one guy on his guitar, and he was fine, but he was more like me, And he played a couple of songs that I would probably play, and they seemed to like it. So I went my week, and I played mostly what I usually play, which is Eagles and Neil Young and Bob Dylan and Jackson Brown, and they all were singing along. I mean, and I realized these people aren't that much older than I am. They don't live there. It's a senior center where they go for activities and stuff like that. Right. And they love it. It's the highlight of their week.
Right. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I'm glad I did it now. But now I feel much more comfortable going and playing at a brewery.
Well, maybe
or a winery
that first guy that you saw does more living facilities. You know what I mean?
Maybe
they're older.
Maybe
you know what I'm saying?
Could be, yeah.
Like the senior center, like you say, they could be people that just retired.
Exactly.
So there's more of a range. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So the music from the 70s and 80s, they were listening to it or their kids were, Yeah. So.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around. I guess that'll be next.
Yeah.
Tribute bands are playing for the older folks.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
I know a lot of musicians they do some of that.
Yep. Yeah. I've got mixed feelings about. I know some people have problems with tribute bands, and I've always been in a cover band. We've done a few originals. Luke wrote a few originals, but mostly it's covers.
Sure.
But it's just not one band. So if you cover one band, now you're a tribute band. But it's not that much different, and people know what they're getting.
I can't. Yeah.
You guys cover two bands though.
We do cover two bands.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about that. But I have a friend of mine. So funny. You probably don't know. Probably don't know Danny Formica, but his name is Danny Formica. He said something hilarious the other night. We were talking about it, and he's just so funny. He goes, "John, you're a drummer. Did you write? Boom, bad, boom. Did you write that? Like, what difference does it make if you're playing that in a song that you wrote or a song that you didn't wrote? Right. No offense, but as the drummer,
yes,
you're not. I mean, and I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what difference do you make? What does it make? You're playing drums,
right?
So just play them.
Yeah, and a lot of bands famous bands that do their own music, obviously.
Sure.
Usually, a lot of them don't even write their own music, but a lot of them, one or two guys in the band write it. Well, you saying the bass player, it's it's a cover band for him because he didn't write the songs.
Right, good point.
So as long as the music's good, I don't care.
And I mean, I've done original music. I'm not going to justify my thing, but yeah, I mean, I've done original music for a long period of my. And anyway, now I am going to justify myself. I love Led Zeppelin anyway. So I mean, if someone, it's not like I'm in it for the money. If someone was like, "Let's do a Jimmy Buffett tribute," I don't like Jimmy Buffett, so
you wouldn't do it.
No.
Yeah.
So
I'm the same way.
Whatever. You don't like Jimmy Buffett?
No, that wasn't what I meant. I like some Jimmy Buffett. I like the Jimmy Buffett vibe.
Sure.
But anybody I ever play with, I always tell them everybody has full veto power. If we're doing a song that you don't like, let's not do it.
That's why you guys are.
There's plenty of good songs out there, and I don't want anybody playing something just to mail it in. And,
right.
And
everyone's got to be into it.
But
that's probably why you guys are still friends, because you're not. There's not one person dragging you through things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I've written one song in my life.
Okay.
And I was this is just before I started with the band.
Oh wow!
So it's been a while.
Yeah.
And we had 4 kids at the time.
Whoa!
And it was our anniversary weekend. So this would have been, let's see, Nick, who you taught drums to, was probably about 1 or 2 at the time. So this was going back about 30 years.
Wow.
And
He's that old?
He's that old.
Oh.
Yes, and he's got 2 children.
Oh, no.
2 beautiful babies, yeah.
See, this is what happens to me lately. It's happened
I
again
know,
the other week.
yeah.
I have a grown-ass man, a grown person will come up to me and go, hey, man, are you the drum teacher over at... And I'm, because, yeah.
Did I teach your son or
Yeah,
something?
no,
No, you taught me.
Yeah, you taught
Yeah.
me. And I remember names, kind of. But I'll
Yeah.
just go, dude, you got to show me a picture of you when you were 9.
Of course.
Because in my mind, that like if
Yeah.
Nick walked in, I wouldn't know him at all.
No, you wouldn't.
Anyway, go ahead.
You wouldn't. So I decided that for our anniversary, I would write my wife a song.
Sure.
And I'd never written well, I take it back. When I was like 12, I wrote a couple songs. And even at 12, I knew they were horrible.
Oh.
So I just like I gave up.
Sure.
So I'm like, all right, well, now I'm older. I'm going to try it again. And one of the guys that Joe Flood turned me on to was John Prine.
Sure.
And I read or heard that when he first got started writing songs, he was a mailman, and to kill time when he was delivering mail, he would think of lyrics and stuff like that. I happened to be a mailman at the time.
Oh, wow.
So
You're halfway there.
yeah. So, for like that week before the anniversary, as I'm walking, I'm formulating this song in my head, and got all my kids' names into it, and just some real facts about our journey. And it's Friday. Our anniversary's Sunday.
Oh,
I
boy.
still had not played the song out loud. It was all in my head. I had never played it on the guitar.
Wow.
But I'm thinking, well, I was supposed to work Saturday too, and I'm thinking, it's going to take me 20 minutes. I'll tweak it. It'll be fine. Well, I get out of work Friday afternoon, and my wife's standing there in the parking lot, and I said, "What are you doing here?" And she said, "We're going away for the weekend."
Oh, no.
And I said, "Oh, well, I got to work tomorrow." She said,
Yeah.
"No, I talked to your boss. I got you a vacation day, and the car's already packed. He said you could leave your car here all weekend."
And there's
I
no
said-
room for your guitar.
well, no, I said, "Did you bring my guitar?" She said, "Well, there wasn't room for it, so I brought your mandolin."
Oh.
So now I'm thinking,
Oh,
okay,
boy.
well, either I'm going to play this song I've never played before, and this was the only gift I got her for anniversary, besides going away for the weekend.
And she talked to your boss, booked the trip,
Exactly.
and packed the car.
Exactly.
Bad husband.
So I wrote her a song, John.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, am I going to borrow a guitar when I get there? What am I going to do,
Make
So we
one out
got
of
there.
it.
We got a nice little bed and breakfast in New Hampshire, and I just said, screw it. I'm just going to do it on the mandolin. So I, at the right time, I pulled it out, and I said, I got to confess, I've never played this song out loud before. But I played it for her, and she loved it. And I haven't written one since, and it's been like 30 years. So I think I'm kind of due to up my game, and I want to write some songs. I'm about ready.
Okay.
I'm too busy, which I'm really not.
Okay.
But that's what it feels.
Well-
It feels like it's too low on the priority list, but I'm excited about trying it.
I can't say what I'm thinking right now.
Okay. I can respect that.
I can't say it.
Okay.
I can't say it. I'm
Okay.
not going to say
You
it.
want to tell me later?
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks.
All right, put it this way. Do you remember, so Spinal Tap, we all know Spinal Tap.
Oh,
okay,
I
never
know
mind.
of
All right,
I know
never mind.
of Spinal
Then you
Tap,
know
but
what?
I
I'm
couldn't
glad-
tell you one
I'm
word about
so
it.
glad I didn't
Never
say
seen
what-
it.
So glad I didn't say what I was thinking.
Oh, good.
All right, never mind. So do you want to tell us the title of the song, or does it not even matter?
It's
You
called
don't-
Loretta's Song. That's my wife's name.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep.
All right.
And
Made the
I'm
debut.
pretty proud of it. I mean, it's simple. It's no epic masterpiece, but I think it's pretty good. Yeah.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It did what you hoped that it would do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's cool.
So I'm trying to think if there's anything I forgot, because I know you haven't been able to get a word in edgewise.
Oh. Well,
So I don't know if we have to go to commercial break or anything. Just give me
No.
Okay.
I mean, we're halfway there.
Okay.
So,
Good.
then what happens?
I told you I like to talk.
Yeah, no,
I've
that's
been
good.
told.
Well,
So,
you never saw Spinal Tap?
Never saw Spinal Tap. No.
Wow. That's wild.
I got a good Joe Flood story for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. So about this same time that we would get together and go to parties and bars and stuff, Joe's brother lived up in Vermont, up in Montpelier, and we decided to go visit him. Well, we decided to go for a weekend to Quebec City, the three of us, just as a
Yeah.
guy thing,
Hell
right?
yeah.
And I think what happened was for some reason we drove to Montpelier to visit his brother, and then we took the train to go to Quebec City.
Okay.
But there was a layover in Montreal.
Did you take the funicular to get to the top of the thing?
I don't know what that is.
All right. Okay. Never mind.
Was that in Spinal Tap too?
No.
No?
No. I only went to old Quebec City.
Yeah.
The touristy thing.
Well, we never made it to Quebec
Okay.
City.
All right.
So that's part of the story.
All right, okay. Never mind then.
So we had a
there's a thing. So old Quebec City is kind of elevated, and tourists. It's like a trolley car. It's some sort of transportation device that takes you up, like a cable car type of thing that takes you up, and it's called the funicular.
Huh.
I don't know what that means. Anyway,
Oh,
go ahead.
I thought you were going to tell us what it meant.
No, well, you're going to talk, and I'm going to quickly look it up. So,
Okay.
all right, so there you are.
So you want me to talk now?
You're
Okay.
with Joe Flood.
I'm with Joe Flood and Mike Hamilton, and we drive up to Montpelier and visit with Patrick, his brother, and then we catch a train, but there's a 4-hour layover in Montreal. So we get off the train, and we're like, well, let's walk around Montreal. It seems like a cool city.
Sure.
And there was a street, I don't remember the name of it, but it was blocked off to traffic, and there was people busking on the street and street performers and stuff like that. So we all right, we'll pull out our guitars and start jamming. So we did. And people started walking up and throwing money into our guitar cases.
Hey.
And we're like, okay, this is cool. So we kept playing, and then at some point we got hungry and ran out of beer, so we stopped, and we took the money, and we bought a pizza and a case of beer. We came back, and we did it until that ran out, and then it was time for dinner or whatever,
Yeah.
And we ended up just deciding to stay in Montreal the whole weekend, and we slept in the park because we had sleeping bags.
Wow.
Yeah, and it just turned into quite an adventure, and it was the first time I realized I could actually maybe make some money doing this.
Was this the beginning of Joe Flood's thing, or did he had already done this and said this is how it's done?
I honestly don't know if he was a busker at that point. It would be fun to think that was his first
that he just was
experience
like, hey.
at busking. Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Right.
So you had like a buskers sleeping out in the wild weekend.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Wow.
Oh, and a funny Mike Cleary story too.
They're all funny.
Well, and he reminded me that I might want to bring this up is I've been telling people
He slept outside of time.
No,
too.
he was.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sure he has. But I've been telling people for a while that I had this vague memory that I'm the one that got him playing guitar.
Michael Cleary?
Yes,
Wow.
way back in the day. And I finally asked him a few years ago, is this true, or am I just conjuring this up in my mind? He says, no, it's true. He said, I saw you and Joe jamming one time, and I don't know if I'll get the story exactly right, but he said, I want to do that too. And
So you're the origin story.
I think if it weren't for me, he wouldn't even be a guitarist. That's all I can figure.
Damn.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah. Where's that time machine when you need it?
I know, huh?
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of wild. So you're the inspiration of Michael Cleary.
Right. And he, obviously
Are you ready for this?
bypassed me big time.
I didn't make it up. Funicular. It's a word.
Huh.
It's an adjective. An adjective. You think it would be
That is weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. So as an adjective, it's of a railroad,
Okay.
especially one on a mountainside operating by cable with ascending and descending cars counterbalanced.
Uh-huh.
As a noun, it's relating to a rope or its tension. So it's a cable car,
Yeah.
but they call it something different. Have you ever? Well, you're from Columbus. Do you know about Pittsburgh? My family's from Pittsburgh, and
I know about Pittsburgh,
They
but
have
I don't know much
thing.
about it.
We call it the incline in Pittsburgh. The same sort of thing. There's a mountain. It's like a cable car, but it's not like a ski lift suspended. It's the track is on the side of the mountain, and the car goes up like this, and that's the incline. And it's that thing like that where it's counterbalanced. So as you're going up, another car is going down.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of thing. That's where you discover the Doppler
in Pittsburgh,
effect.
huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's what. Yeah.
I wasn't aware there was a mountain in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Mount Washington. Yeah. It's a whole. I don't know what Columbus is like, but
Columbus is pretty flat, from what I remember. Yeah.
Pittsburgh is very hilly. A lot of hills, mountains. And, there's the big mountain above the Three Rivers.
Yep.
And so people that actually you can work above or below You know, so like it's like a part of the streetcar system.
Wow.
And for some people,
Yeah.
I think it used to be.
Cool.
And that's where you could learn. On the incline, maybe you would understand the Doppler effect. That you would yell at somebody, "Hey, watch where you're going, you jag off!" And then that whole thing. And jag off that's a Pittsburgh. Do they say that in Columbus? Jag off. That's.
I was in fourth grade when I moved to Connecticut, so they didn't say it to me.
Yeah, right. Hey, that's pretty good though.
Yeah.
If you went to Pittsburgh, then they might have. You never know. Wow.
That's true. Yeah.
So you might be Michael Cleary's origin story.
I like to think I am.
That's
I'm
heavy.
not.
That's heavy.
But I'm not.
He's going to come bursting through the door any minute, probably. So
I was with him last night.
Were you really?
Jamming, yeah.
Sorry. So what's next?
Well, we hadn't had a rehearsal. I took the winter off.
Okay.
Partly because I hate playing gigs in the winter. I used to work outside, and I hated coming home and having dinner and then packing back up and going out and not knowing how the weather was going to be. So
when you're home, you're home.
Well, I don't mind doing that in the summer or the fall or the spring.
Sure.
But, if the weather's bad and you don't know who's going to show up or if the owner's going to cancel.
Right. Sure.
And plus I've been dealing with a lot of issues with my left hand. So I'm like, I'm going to take a few months.
Yeah.
So and I, now we have a gig coming up a week from Friday. Oh, I didn't mention that. Michael and I are playing a week from Friday, March 15th, at Terraza Restaurant, which is at the Quarry Ridge Golf Course here in town.
Okay.
And we hadn't had a rehearsal in a while, so we're like, okay, got to get back at it and work up some new tunes and
do you guys do
dust off the old ones.
50-50, or like how do you?
I would say it's probably about 50-50.
Yeah.
And we swap off, singing harmonies and melodies and stuff like
so
that.
You just took your master list together and said, let's just make a thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what that's like? That would be as if your master list was this funicular car and this was his, and you just went
right
like that
and worked that Doppler effect right in the middle.
It's all like that. it all ties in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And the thing is, both of our master lists were from full bands, so there was only certain ones that really were going to work.
Right.
And that's been a little trial and error.
Right.
But,
sure.
Yeah,
that's kind of wild. Mm-hmm. So working more, getting ready to work more, just because you got the duo thing now.
Right.
And then the band thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and hopefully the solo thing. It's really just a matter of getting off my ass and doing it.
So you're trying to get back into it more?
Well, I the only solo stuff I've done is at this gig at the senior center.
You think it's going to lead to you just triple the work almost?
Yes.
With an eye towards retirement, or who knows?
Well, I'm already retired in real life, so I'm a musician now and a grandfather and
hey, whatever,
and all kinds. I wear a lot of hats, as Dave knows.
Yes. So does Cleary.
So does Dave. Yeah. Speaking of wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah, that's true.
I was going to the landfill a couple of years back with my niece, who was living with us at the time, and we pulled in, and they had the little booth set up, permits due $30 per car.
Oh boy!
And we pull up, and Dave's standing there taking money, and my niece looks at me and she goes, "Does he do everything in this town?"
It probably was a scam.
Pretty much.
He probably set up his own booth before the booth. So, may I see your permit, please?
$30.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how he gets that's how he got all his money for all this gin that he drank. That I made up. I just made the whole thing up. Yeah.
Well, interestingly,
that's funny.
It was more than a couple of years ago because.
Did he let you slide, or he was just like, "Yeah, how you doing?"
No, he
That'll be $30.
Charged me double.
Yeah, exactly.
But I said to him, I had been talking with a good friend of mine, Chris Nolan. The Nolan brothers are in Small Town Roots, which is another Portland band.
Yeah.
And along with Matt Bystrick. And Chris had told me he bought a Boss amp, I think from Dave, but I'm not sure. And it was like a solo performance Boss amp, but it had a built-in looper and a harmonizer in it.
Oh, hey.
So I said to Dave at this chance meeting, do you guys have any Boss amps in stock and blah, blah, blah. And he gave me the spiel. And then I didn't say anything else about it, never called Dave. And about a week or two later, for Father's Day or my birthday or whatever, was
boom
on my table, signed by all my kids and my niece, this Boss amp.
Hey.
Because she remembered.
Hey.
and told my wife, this is what you should get him.
Hey, now.
And it's a good thing because I probably would never have gotten it for myself. So
now you're ready for the solo act.
well, yeah, and I really like the extra layer of maybe using the looper, which I'm still getting the hang of the timing of it.
Sure.
And the harmonizer, which is a lot of fun, but if you play it in the wrong key, it sounds terrible. So I have some work to do, but I'd like to incorporate that into some solo stuff because it'll be a little more complicated and a little fuller sound. And
people do it.
I own the amp,
Yeah,
so
right.
I might
Right.
as well. Right
Might
now I
as
just
well.
use it in my basement.
Well, you'll figure it out.
Yeah,
People do.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And the nice thing is, I can come up with set lists, and I don't have to worry about anybody else learning anything.
Right.
How to play it, how to sing it, because
Sure.
if
What
it's all
key
me,
is it?
then it's all on me. If
Yeah.
I know it, I know it. you
Yeah.
know?
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What are you going to call your solo act?
I think I'm going to call myself Michael Cleary, just
Perfect.
to get more people to show up.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I'll put it in quotes or something.
Perfect. Yeah, right. You could be a Michael Cleary tribute act. Now, see? I'm telling you, this is where things get done right here on this podcast. See, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Imagine that. A
Right.
Michael Cleary tribute band.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll probably go with my own name, I think.
Yeah, I think
I've
that
got
would
some.
probably be a
I've
good
been
idea.
around this town a long time. and
Oh,
I've
okay.
got some name recognition.
Okay.
I'm known as the mayor of Winchester Cafe sometimes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, I went in and I parked and went in the back door because it was convenient for the parking, and I had to use the men's room, and I had to make my way. I don't know if you've ever been into the Winchester.
Yeah.
It's not a large place,
No.
but I had to make my way from this end all the way across the bar to the other end to the men's room. And it took me about 20 minutes
'Cause
because I'm
everyone wants
shaking
to
hands
talk
and
to you.
hugging and
Sure.
how you doing, and I
Sure.
knew everybody in there.
Yeah.
So I think if I just go by my own name, it might be better.
You'll be fine.
And don't leave Portland, because then nobody will know who I am.
Right. Well, that's
You know,
fine. We
but-
don't need to go.
There's plenty of places to play in this town.
Good.
You know?
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love this town.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
I like
and we got a great music store here.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny. I mean, whatever I need, I'll think, Dave's not going to have that in stock. He doesn't have enough.
Yeah,
room
if you
to have
look
that
long
big
enough,
of an
you'll
inventory.
find anything.
I come in here. He said, "Oh, here it is on the wall." I needed speaker stands last week.
Yep.
And I even called, Middletown Music
Sure.
or something, and which is a bigger store. And
Sure.
I said, They said, "No, we don't have any in stock." I called Dave up. He goes, "Yeah, I got them. Come on down." I come
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
He pulls them out, and there they are.
Yep.
So very
Yep.
convenient.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah.
Connecticut Valley School of Music over here in Portland. We got it all.
That's right.
Got it all. I always thought Dave was the mayor of Portland. That's the way I think of it.
Well,
you guys got to figure
I'm
this
his
out.
apprentice.
Oh, okay. The understudy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's heavy.
It is.
Well,
Big shoes to fill.
You've seen the show. You've seen my show before, so you know what's coming, right?
I never, I've made it to the end of a couple, but I decided I was going to start watching all the ones of the people that I know that are in them.
Mm.
So I only made it to the end of one or two. So I'm ready for anything.
So you don't know about the pie catapult that's about to go off in your face?
No,
that
but
you
I
don't know that there's a secret
it
button.
sounds like fun.
I just press the button and all of a sudden, just, and that's how we end.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
Should I
banana
take off my
cream.
glasses?
Yeah, exactly. No, so anyway,
Okay.
is there anything? So I have a couple of wrap-up questions.
Yep.
And then, but before that, is there anything that we did not talk about that you want to bring up for the last? Anything that you forgot about before we?
I don't think so. Apologies to anyone who I didn't mention.
Sure.
There's a lot of local musicians that I love to go out and hear, and
Yeah. Well, we'll get them.
I'll drop their names next time.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
have some suggestions for you.
Oh, good.
After we
Yeah,
finish
that
too,
always-
of a couple other people.
That always helps.
Yeah.
It's always helpful. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Do you? So Desert Island albums. Is there another way to put that? I just say name 5 of your favorite albums. but
So is there?
someone's phone's ringing. Is that you?
Oh yeah.
It's Cleary. No, just kidding. Imagine.
It wouldn't surprise
No,
me.
it would, yeah. If this were live, it would be. It would be him, but it's not. Imagine. You know what I mean?
So there's power on this desert island, or is this a
See,
crank?
this is why people get hung up. That's why
is
I
it
got
a crank?
Nah, I don't
Okay.
know. That's why I got to think of the. It's just a turn of phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Because then people like
I know.
Like
I'm just being a pain in the
5
ass.
of your favorite albums. Put it that way.
Oh, geez. Okay,
You know.
5 of them.
If you could.
I'm not good at favorites, but I'll rattle off some that I do love.
Sure.
Dire Straits, Brothers in Arms is one of my favorites.
The first CD ever.
I think you're right.
Right?
Yes, I believe you are right.
CD ever made.
Yeah. Jackson Browne, For Every Man.
Oh, nice.
Grateful Dead, Europe 72 is one that I can go back to a lot. Love that sound.
You better have an MCB in there.
MCB, every one of them.
Yeah,
whatever they're called.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Neil Young, Harvest.
Sure.
And we got to throw Bob Dylan in there, I think. So let's go with Blood
on the Tracks is mine. That's mine.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. I would have to go with now I'm drawing a blank. Scarlett Rivera plays the fiddle. Hurricane is on it. Isis is on it. Might be called Hurricane.
Oh.
That's bad that I can't remember the title, but
you keep talking.
Okay.
We're gonna find it. This.
That's bad, man. I should know. It's probably been a long time since I've looked at or talked about that album.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Desire? Is that what it is?
That sounds familiar. I bet you that's.
I think it might be Desire.
We're gonna find out right now.
Okay, good.
Is that it for?
Well, that's 5.
Well, you can. There's no rules here.
I don't have to stop, especially since you're looking something up. And I like to talk. What else do I like? Jeez, I love the Outlaws.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, my band plays a lot of Outlaws, Skinner, Allman Brothers, Tucker, Charlie Daniels, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So all
yes,
5 of those.
Desire. Yes.
Okay. Good.
Correct.
Beautiful.
1976.
Yeah.
Far Out.
Yeah.
Okay. I've come to realize over the years, it's just one of those things. Like when I was in high school, there was Southern rock was a thing. You had Molly Hatchet and Rossington Collins Band and Skinner and stuff. I just wasn't that kind of kid at that time in high school, because it seems like when I was in high school, you had to be a type to like a certain, like what the music that you liked. Okay. I don't think it's like that now. And I didn't dislike Southern rock, but it wasn't my thing. So I didn't really pay attention to it. And I thought, Charlie Daniels, his Devil Went Down to Georgia. I'm like, whatever. But I've realized lately, maybe, you can confirm this, but it's suddenly dawning on me that Charlie Daniels is a friggin' poet. You know what I mean? Because, like, you take it for granted, but you go, wait, The Devil Went Down to Georgia that's a really clever piece of work. And then you remember the old one where I'm chasing around. I'm not, my car broke down and he went down and gave him one run around the parking lot, whatever song that is.
Yep.
With that.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, I get it.
Uneasy Rider.
Right, Uneasy Rider. And there's another one.
He's also a magnificent guitar player.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw him live, and
I
was shocked because I just thought he was a fiddle player.
Sure, yeah.
He was amazing.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I just realized, I'm like, he's a wordsmith, and I'm like, oh, I get it. You're like the Southern rock poet.
I got to meet him one time.
Oh, yeah?
My sister, her second husband, her current husband, is Charlie Daniels' godson.
Hey.
And his dad played drums with Charlie Daniels.
Hey.
Before it was the Charlie Daniels Band, it was called the Jaguars. That was his previous band.
Wow.
And,
that must have been a long time ago.
It was. It was. And he came and played at the Hebron Fair, I think, and we got onto the tour. We got onto the tour bus, and he signed my hat, and he was a hell of a nice guy.
That's cool.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
He's gone now, but...
Did you ever play Uneasy Rider? Is that on your set list?
We've only played that around a campfire.
Yeah.
No, we've never played that at a gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a hilarious
Oh,
song.
yeah.
I remember that when I was a kid. There was something else. Anyway, yeah, Charlie Daniels. He's a poet.
Yes.
Desert Island Food.
Well, before I was remiss. I don't think I mentioned any women, but I'm a big fan of Bonnie Raitt.
Sure.
And Alison Krauss. Love Alison Krauss and Union Station.
Yeah, of course.
Among others, but those are the two I can think of.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay, what was that? Food?
Yeah, Desert Island Food.
Desert Island Food.
Well, or favorite food, put it that way. It's less interesting.
I will tell you one thing that I eat every day, because sometimes you ask people that,
sure.
I think.
Sure.
And that was the easy one for me, because in order to make sure I get something healthy in my body before I start my day, because I never know once the day gets going what's going to happen.
Right.
I have a smoothie every morning. Frozen bananas.
Perfect.
V8 Energy, which is peach mango.
Okay.
So it's got some green tea and caffeine in it, just to get me up and going. And I throw some handful of greens in there. My son taught me that. and spinach, arugula, whatever we got.
Yeah.
And a little splash of soy creamer because I'm vegetarian. I don't do dairy, so
Okay. Yeah.
that gives it a little thickness and sweetness.
Yeah.
And then I put some herbs in there for my inflammation.
Wow.
It's called pumpkin spice, but it's like cinnamon and nutmeg and
Right.
cloves and ginger and stuff,
Right.
and a little dash of cayenne pepper. My son also
There you go.
suggested that.
Right.
And
so you can
it's
kind of get a
tasty
lot
and
of stuff done
Yeah.
in one shot.
Yeah, and then
And if you're Dave, you get a little gin. Put a little something. Well, I don't know why I'm saying that. Dave's not. I'm just getting on this thing. I thought that one day. I was like, who would stop me from putting NyQuil in my smoothie right now? No one. Like what?
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
Sure.
dump it in, see what happens. Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds like a good idea, though, because that
Yeah.
gets a lot of stuff done.
Well, yeah, and
Right?
then you don't have to worry
Maybe I'll
about
get into
the
that.
rest of the day so much.
I should get into
because then
that.
I just kind of graze all day.
Right. Maybe I'll get into that.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
it is. Find something that you like
Yeah.
that tastes good.
Yeah.
And I didn't mention protein powder, but obviously it's
Sure.
a protein shake because
Sure.
I'm vegetarian, so it's
Yep.
a good idea to get that protein.
I would get into that.
Yeah,
Yeah. I could do that.
tasty.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, sounds
Yeah.
good. If you ever come here again, make one. Make me
Okay.
one. Bring it.
I will do that.
Yeah. Put NyQuil. Just a little, just bloop, just
And
a little,
gin in his?
some gin.
I'll let
I don't
him-
know why.
I'll
I
let
have
him
to-
put
I'm
the
not.
gin.
Gonna, this isn't going to be a thing. I don't know why I'm saying that. I shouldn't say that because I'm besmirching Dave's reputation for no reason.
I know.
It doesn't even.
Right.
He doesn't drink. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, if he did, it would be some Fireball in there. Isn't that your? We've gotten into the Fireball here sometime.
Yeah.
Occasionally.
Uh-huh.
Can you think of a concert or show that you've seen that changed your whole trajectory in one shot?
I would have to say probably my first Dead show.
Okay.
And
Sure.
Grateful Dad, just to make sure that
Right,
you know.
right.
But I don't consider myself a deadhead because I do have some critique of their style
Okay.
and how much time they waste.
Okay.
But Cleary doesn't like it when I complain about their set list, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's between you guys.
he
right?
thinks that they're pretty successful and they know what they're doing.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, it was my first real experience at a live jam concert.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that improvisation. And,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm a guitar guy. And even though I don't really play lead guitar, I love to listen
You
to
want to
lead
see someone
guitar.
rip?
Yeah, yeah. And
Sorry.
yeah. And I actually saw Dead and Company twice in the last few years, and those were probably my two favorite shows I went to. The first one was in Hartford at the Meadows.
Okay.
And my neighbor knew like the security guy, and we had lawn seats, but we ended up in the mosh pit
Nice.
about 20 feet from John Mayer, and
Nice.
they rocked it,
Yeah.
you know. And then went to see him at Fenway Park this past summer,
Hey, that's cool.
and they were like 6 or 7 years older and slower, and it was a slow show, but it was at Fenway Park, and I'm a Red
Yeah,
Sox fan, and it was just a wild day, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that set you on that path.
But I'm also a guy who every time I go see a concert, I say it's the best concert I've ever seen. So
Oh, all right.
take
So
it with a
you're
grain of salt.
unreliable.
Yeah, I saw Alison Krauss in Union Station live, and they were just
Whoa.
unbelievably tight.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I saw, whenever it was, 2005 or 6 or whatever, I saw Alison Krauss and Robert Plant
Oh, okay.
at Mohegan Sun, and that was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Wow.
It was unreal. It was like, you're in that arena show, and you could hear a pin drop. That's how quiet it was.
Yeah.
Like the band was quiet. They were just playing stage volume.
Right.
It was beautiful. It was amazing. And they're touring again. They're doing it again.
Yeah.
But that was amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love Alison Krauss, too.
I've never really heard that combo. I knew they
It's
did
great.
stuff.
It's really good.
Because I know you're doing the Zeppelin Company, right?
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah,
Led
sure.
Zeppelin and Bad Company.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a Bad Company fan. I was never much of a Led Zeppelin fan, but when I was a kid, had my cassette or my stereo in my room.
Sure.
And every night at 11:45 or whatever, I'd put on my headphones, and it was like HCN or PLR
Oh, yeah.
would play Stairway to Heaven. It would end at midnight every night.
Oh.
Then that's how I went to sleep every night, and still one of my probably top 3 favorite songs.
Nice.
As cliche as that sounds.
We don't
It's
play
just-
that. We don't play that.
I don't blame you,
No, well, no.
but I mean, it's got a special place in my
Sure.
heart. You know.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah.
I think it should. I mean, it's one of those tunes.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's no uneasy rider. But what is?
Like their heads was on fire and their asses was catching.
Right, yeah. And all that my hair getting poured out.
That is poetry right there.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah. Redneck poetry.
Yep.
Country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we did it. We made it.
Did we make it?
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
Yeah. Mike Foley. Yeah, so we know a lot of the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, recommend some more folks.
Okay.
So next week we're
We'll
having a Gilmet
Luke.
here.
Luke, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, he can back up my stories or contradict them however he sees fit. Luke's got a much better memory than I do.
Really?
But I think I tell better stories.
Because he didn't go to all those Grateful Dead shows.
That's true.
That's what it is.
That is true. We've actually finally started playing quite a bit of Dead, and the guys really dig it. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
They finally came around.
Yeah.
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 That's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, man, whatever it takes.
Only the fun ones, though. The snoozers we don't play.
Oh, really?
No.
I don't know. I got to be honest. I don't know enough to.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've heard one song all the way through. To be honest with you, just not my.
They take a long
time
time to get to the end, so you got a good excuse.
Yeah, right.
You know.
It's an acquired taste.
Well, you know what? I guess we're at the end of this. We made it. It's a John Peckman podcast. Gonna talk about acquired tastes. That's what this is right here. Tastes like NyQuil and gin smoothie. John Peckman podcast. Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Beautiful downtown Portland, Connecticut. Come over the bridge. Go through one set of lights to pull a U. Park in front of the music store with the red neon light. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. We have merch also. You could walk around with my face on your shirt or whatever. We have mugs. We have all kinds of stuff. We have a beautiful podcast studio here. You could have your very own show if you want. You know what I mean? Mike Foley was here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
You got it. That is all.
If you'd like to start your own podcast, give us a call at Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance. Our professionally designed podcast space is here for all your recording needs. Rent out our studio to do interviews with up to 4 people, to record audiobooks, social media content, and all other recorded material. Our rentals include a private studio along with our professional-grade podcasting equipment, and we can customize your output to whatever your needs are. We also have green screen capabilities, which will expand to video capability if you so wish. So check us out here at convalley.net/podcast.